Okay.
You ever been ocean dump, PATAR?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so basically,
Mm-hmm.
now what kind of sparked this off was
Yeah.
let me read something to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I kind of had a little bit of a not good time earlier, just because I don't know your family really well. I don't expect them to trust me or really tell me anything. But if I'm standing at a convo, I just want the respect of being told to walk away if there's sensitive information being talked about. I was told by PATAR I could come back to the convo, and naturally, they started discussing stuff that was pretty much none of my business. But instead of asking me to walk away, Dean said, "Cammy, I don't want to ocean dump you," and then started talking about some more stuff. That's fine. I have nobody to tell and would never do that to you. I just felt really disrespected that the topic of ocean dumping me even came up because I was just vibing. PATAR told me that it was okay to listen, then later Dean proceeded to ask if I ever been waterboarded. Basically said, like, "Cammy, I'm sure you're good. You're Saint's cousin, you're baddie, but we don't know you, so we don't know who you might tell." And I don't know, it was uncomfy. So
it made her uncomfortable.
well, I mean, I think the part where Dean didn't want to use his words as an adult and instead said, "Cammy, I don't want to ocean dump you."
That's the part. So instead of telling her to walk away, right?
Yeah. Which, to be completely honest, like, I think that would make anybody really uneasy and uncomfortable.
Who's in the car there when we were there? I think it. See, the thing is, I think we took it as a joke, and Dean, like, we understood that Dean was joking, but it makes sense from Cammy not understanding it's not a joke, you
But
know?
the thing is, Dean also has threatened to ocean dump me and waterboard me when Jay was also, you know, and I didn't have a vest or anything. So I know for a fact that Dean wasn't joking. And I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
I understand that he may not have known her, but like at some point in time, if you don't know somebody, you don't joke with them like that. You don't make them feel a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And it kind of comes back to a whole point that I think that we talked about before, was how I feel as if, like, we say things that we're going to put into action and put into play, but then they never get put into play.
Okay, and what's that?
So, for example, I'm gonna be honest, and I've held my tongue until today.
Okay, I want you to speak now.
It's just the fact that Dean still walks around acting as if he is a chain member.
And whose problem is, like, well, that's a group issue. That's how we treat him, and that's how we've been treating him.
Well, yeah, and that's why I said it comes down to the fact that, like, we say that he needs to be treated this certain way. You know what I mean? But then nobody does anything about it. You know what I mean?
That you know of.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, yesterday I had a little chat with Dean, and he was like, "Why am I getting lashed for this and that, blah blah blah." It was more about a gun, but yeah, no, I think the thing is, it needs to be a group effort thing. It can't just be one or two people or la di da, because things just go down into the dumpster if we do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with, like, at the current moment, I see no difference between Steve and Nunu and MDMA, like new MDMA at the moment. Because we pretty much share everything MDMA knows with Steve and Nunu. And remember, there was a conversation at the block where I don't know who was there. I really don't pay attention who stays or who doesn't stay in conversations. But the Dean was like, "Oh, only person that shouldn't be here is Steve." And I said Steve can stay, because if Nunu's there, Steve can stay too. I think it's more of it doesn't, like, it needs to be a group effort from everyone. Like,
yeah,
everyone needs
100%.
to step up, because if it's just one or two people doing it, there's no point, and you might as well just throw everything into the garbage, you know?
Yeah, and that's like kind of like the thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's funny you say that, because obviously Saint brought this to me and I said the exact same thing. At the end of the day, problem, or a problem, we have many, but a problem with the MANDEM right now is a clear distinction between leadership, who is a quote-unquote chained member, who is just a vested member, who's even MDMA. And I think a lot of our problems stem from coming, like you just said, not really reminding people the position that they're in. So I think a clear example of that is, obviously, for the last year or so, I've
Mhm.
been told that I'm treated as a chain member, which I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. But from an outsider perspective, let's just you mentioned the names Stee and Nunu. They
Mhm.
see me as MDMA.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to differentiate between Mandem and chain members. And the problem is, I think with us, we don't set a clear precedent. So for instance, Dean's supposed to be treated like a MDMA member or less than, if I remember correctly. You said you wanted him to be less than.
So how I want it to be is James and Steve are on the same level in a sense, but the thing is it's hard with Dean because everyone within the gang has that loyalty with him. Like even Matt, when the whole thing happened with Dean and everything, he's like, "Well, I can't be mad at Dean because without him I wouldn't be here,
Why
etc."
is that
Like
loyalty
everyone,
there?
because people
His
can't separate
family.
their,
Would you
you
say his
know,
family?
it's family, but it's also the separation of what's it called, like especially now when I talk to people, there's, I can be your friend, but when I'm talking to you like properly, like
Mhm.
I'm gonna be ruthless with you and this and that, like there's gonna be a differentiation when I'm talking to you as a 2IC and talking to you as like your friend.
Well, the reason I asked that is
Yeah.
because I know that we make a laugh and a joke about the whole like, are we a gang or are we a
Mm.
family thing. I think the reason I asked that is because we are so much like a family and we are
Yeah.
all treated equal regardless of the positioning. It people forget what position they're in. People forget that you're 2IC and you get
Yeah.
disrespected. People forget that they left the gang and then came back because they got demoted to MDMA, and now they just assume and just feel like they're back where they were. And that is, I mean, this is like a wider issue, not just Dean. This is like, for instance, and I'm just gonna put this out there because you mentioned their names.
Mm.
I think because we're so inclusive as a gang, people
Yeah.
like Nunu and Stee are so included in everything that they start to feel like they are a part of it, and they don't get reminded that, like, hey, you're
You're
not
just a
actually
hangout, you know what I
Mandem
mean?
yet.
Like a
And I think that is like a big problem. We don't really like don't set clear boundaries throughout the gang depending on where we are in a position. You know what I mean?
Mm.
People definitely disrespect you as 2IC
oh, 100% they do.
Yeah. No,
because they don't
100%.
see you as 2IC. They see you as Patar, my friend, the
Yeah.
guy I love that we laugh and joke about with. And I think this is why I've mentioned on multiple times, like,
Where's the
are we a
fight?
gang?
What building are you man on?
I don't
Are we a
know.
gang or are we a family? Because I know everybody sat there last Monday when I said that and everyone went, why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Man,
This is why it matters. Because you guys want to be a gang sometimes, but then are confused when you get treated like a gang member. And we don't always do that. I'll be honest with
Mm.
you, I said it a lot better to saying earlier. But I think what the point I'm saying is we are way too inclusive as a gang. And I'm not talking about like from outsiders. I mean, in a general sense. And I 100% agree with you, Patar, that
Mm.
it doesn't matter if all four of us sit here and go, right, we're going to treat Dean like an MDMA member. And then tomorrow, SK treats him like his best friend or Matt does. You know what I
Sharks.
mean? Everybody has to do it. And
Yeah.
that's the problem.
And the thing
I think
is, like,
that yeah.
sorry. Well, I was gonna say it's one of those things where I think it starts from us, like the from a like maybe like one or three or four people. If they start doing it, then the other ones will maybe be like, oh, well, wait a second. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's one of those things where I'm looking at like, and it's not just to shit on Dean or like shit on anybody. Like it's more of
Mhm.
like, I just want like, I'm looking at like Mandem as like in the future,
Mm.
because at the moment, I'll be honest, it doesn't seem like we have our shit together because we don't even know if we're a gang or a family. You know what I mean?
I
And-
think being a gang or family is besides the point. It's more of there is an issue with the family right now.
Mhm.
There's a structural issue that needs to be fixed. Because the thing is, like Jay said, you guys are MDM, MDM without the chain, and that's how we've treated you, and that's how we've treated you guys since day one, right? And the thing is, you guys will get your chains. Unfortunately, this war happened. Um, and the conflict happened and things kind of got set aside. And the only two people that won't necessarily have their chain is gonna be Dean and James at that time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want like Dean to feel like he's flunked and his whole class has graduated, you know?
Yeah.
So before Dean even gets a chain, all of you guys will be chained, and like you guys will, he'll notice the authority you guys have above him.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have it's a convenience thing. Like it's more convenient to forgive and forget at moments, you know?
Yeah.
With
Like
that being
even
said,
when
though,
gangs snitch, even when this, like for example, remember when GG snitched on like the thingy?
Yeah.
Everyone, even the people that got snitched on, after 2 weeks, everyone was buddy buddy. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more of like a convenience thing too, you know? It's I guess people go with what's convenient at the time, but I think especially the coming month, there's gonna be a lot of changes within what's it called, especially with you guys getting your chains,
Yeah.
and then um like structuring it better from there. Because the thing is, you guys aren't wrong. Like Nunu and Steve, I think it comes down to how you guys are treated. Is you guys are treated like you guys are like MDM without, and there's no changing that, because you guys 100% deserve your chains, and that will change with time.